Hi everybody, welcome to my hillside urban garden. Today we're going to talk about composting. If you've been considering starting your own compost pile, you should give it a shot. The plants love the compost that you make yourself. So I'm going to go over, this is my compost pile, and you can see that I have two sections, a section here and a section over here, because part of the maintenance is moving the stuff around, taking stuff from here, moving it over here, etc. And you can also see that we have open slats, and that is for air circulation as well. Very important, you don't want it to be all closed up. So in our compost, you can see that we have in here, you need your brown and you need your green. Now for us, the brown, of course, this time of year in fall are the brown leaves that you rake up out of your yard. We have the brown in here for that. And also, the other thing that we put in here is garden scraps, or I should say kitchen scraps. So I've got like some old bananas here, those will go in. I've got some avocados, there's a potato, but I think I'll plant that one in the garden. Some old peppers and a bunch of stuff, odds and ends from cooking. Put all those in. Now those are going to break down. And also in here you see I made a bunch of applesauce recently, so there's a bunch of apple skins and apple cores in here. So your kitchen scraps are part of the brown that you need. And so the other half of that is green. So for us, the green is lawn clippings. So we use those as our green, and that seems to work really well for us. So let's get down close and I'll show you what the layers look like in this bin in here. So let's get close. See the layers here. So you remember I told you I've got my pitchfork here, which really that is the best thing to turn your compost pile with. We've got the kitchen scraps. You can see those here. You can see we've got some more of the brown here. These are dried leaves from the garden. We put those in there. If we dig down just a little bit, you can see our grass clippings are in here as well. And as we continue to dig, more grass clippings, and you can see more dead leaves, more kitchen scraps. So that's what your layers, how you want to do it. You want to do your brown and your green. And remember, your kitchen scraps are part of your brown. So those are really important because those will help with all the microbes and stuff that you're going to need. So that's a close-up of what the layers should look like. So you can see all the layers in there. So you got your brown, your green, your kitchen scraps, and what you're going to do is you're going to layer them in there. Just do the best that you can. It's really not an exact science. You just do the best that you can to do it. So then, after the scraps and all that kind of stuff gets in there, then the worms come. And you have these worms. Check out these worms. They're really quite something. We'll get close and we'll see those. You can see as I dug down deeper into the compost, this thing is full of worms. These worms are doing their job, and they're breaking down all of the stuff that we have put in here. And you can see as we dug deeper and deeper, everything became more like soil. So this stuff's going to be all ready for the spring, and I'm very excited to see all the worms. So you will get worms. As a matter of fact, worms are a sign of a healthy compost. So I did have to dig down quite a bit for this one because it's November and it's cold. They tend to go to the bottom then. But that's what you're looking for, is these little red worms. And I'm going to stick them back in their little hole there so they can do their thing. Wow, wasn't that something? See those worms? It's amazing how many worms are in here. And what do they like to eat? They really like to eat the scraps. And actually I still have some of my applesauce scraps that I got here, so we'll put that in here. All I'm just going to do is shake them on top, move it around, make a nice little layer, give them something to eat. So let's talk about positions. Where do you want to put your compost? I would recommend that you do not put it up against your house for a couple of reasons. One, the moisture for it. You really don't want that kind of moisture up against your structure. And compost piles, they can get very hot. When they're doing their thing, they can get very warm, and you don't want to have any kind of fire or anything like that. So not up against the house. A nice corner in the yard is good. I keep mine in full sun. So this thing is in sun all day. But also, you can see here, We also have part of the sprinkler system set up here. So when the sprinkler runs a couple days a week in this area, we have an adjustable head on that sprinkler so it can be moist. So you do not want your compost pile to dry out. What you want it to be, just like you see here, you want it to be wet, just like if you had a sponge and you wring it out, but the sponge is still wet, it's just not dripping wet. That's what you want your compost pile to be. So that is your goal. So that'll keep the worms alive, that'll keep everything breaking down properly. The other thing is air circulation. So you can see here in our slats we've got about an inch or two all the way down the structure for air circulation, which works out well for us. So the next thing that we do for this is that we have to do the transfer. And that usually is taking some of the layers in here and moving it over to the other bin, and the stuff from the other bin moving it over here. That just helps kind of get more air and moves things around and gets things kind of really working well. And as I said before, the best tool for working in the compost is going to be your fork, your garden fork. So because it can lift up everything, and lift up the green, it can lift up the scraps, and it can lift up all the leaves and everything like that. And all you're going to do is just going to, like this, just shake it in there. So that's how you're going to move it around. So I'm going to get some more, get it around, and we're going to shake it in there. And you want to do this maybe once a month, once every other month, that kind of thing. So just keep adding your kitchen scraps, and you'll be amazed. Adding all this stuff here like we did today, within a week, the compost pile will probably drop about 5 inches. It really does break down very quickly. It's a good way to get rid of your chicken scraps and kind of recycle, right? And it's amazing on how much better your vegetables and your flowers do by spreading the compost out right underneath the beds and stuff like that. Now I found that by adding the compost to the vegetable starts, that it really gets them off to a good start, and it makes my roses and stuff much more healthy looking. It really does. So if you want to start a compost pile, I recommend you just find a spot. It doesn't have to be even as big as this. It can be smaller. You can just have actually 2 piles and just transfer one to the other. Some of the questions that I get, do you get critters? Yeah, sometimes you do. But if you live in more of an urban environment like I am, you don't get as many. So give it a shot. Try a compost pile. I love it because I can recycle my kitchen scraps. We can put all of our lawn clippings in here, all of the brown leaves this time of year, and it's a good way to help the environment. So I hope you give a compost pile a shot. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching the video today, and always remember, when you're working in the garden, always wear your hat and your sunscreen. Thanks everybody. Bye.